Welcome to Facts Intrigue. Today we're diving into some of history's most absurd and jaw-dropping facts that will leave you wondering how these events ever came to pass. From peculiar historical mishaps to truly bizarre twists of fate, our journey will explore the surprising, the humorous, and the outright baffling. So buckle up for a whirlwind adventure through the strange and the unexpected. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help us keep uncovering the world's most intriguing stories. Now, let's get started with some of the most astonishing and curious moments in history that you may never have heard. Imagine this: one of history's greatest military minds brought to his knees by an army of rabbits. Yes, in 1807, Napoleon Bonaparte arranged a grand rabbit hunt for him and his men. The cages were opened, and instead of scattering, the rabbits charged, hundreds of them. Some say they mistook the emperor for their feeder. Though Napoleon triumphed in many battles, this was one skirmish he lost, a whimsical moment in an otherwise tumultuous reign. Salem, Massachusetts, a town infamous for its witch trials, once held another peculiar courtroom drama, the trial of the tomato. In 1820, many believed tomatoes were poisonous. Colonel Robert Gibbon Johnson decided to prove otherwise. In a public display, he consumed an entire basket of tomatoes. When he didn't keel over, the crowd was astonished. Thus ended the tomatoes' reign of terror. Now on to our next. The year 46 BCE wasn't your typical year. Julius Caesar, in his quest to align the calendar with the seasons, added 2 extra leap months, resulting in a 445-day year. Imagine having to endure an additional 80 days before a fresh start. It's a good thing this adjustment gave us the 365-day calendar we use today. Okay, this next one is a bit disturbing and gross. In 1970, the Oregon Highway Division faced a unique problem. A dead whale washed ashore. Their solution? Dynamite. The idea was to blow it into manageable pieces, but things didn't go as planned. The explosion sent whale blubber flying for hundreds of yards, damaging cars and buildings. A lesson in how not to solve problems. Well, this next one provides a new take on office space, and it involves a former U.S. president. President Lyndon B. Johnson was infamous for his unorthodox approach to leadership. He often conducted meetings while on the toilet, leaving aides and journalists in awkward situations. Johnson believed it was an effective way to assert dominance. Few could argue with the results, though one imagines the discomfort was palpable. Here's a timeline twist. Cleopatra's reign, 69 to 30 BCE, is closer to the invention of the iPhone than to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Let me explain more about Cleopatra and those pyramids. It's a very surprising timeline. When we think of Cleopatra, we imagine her as one of the last great rulers of ancient Egypt, known for her intelligence, beauty, and legendary relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. The pyramids of Giza, on the other hand, evoke an image of Egypt's deep antiquity, a time of pharaohs, monumental architecture, and mystifying rituals. But did you know that Cleopatra's reign is closer in time to the invention of the smartphone than to the construction of the pyramids? The Great Pyramid of Giza, the largest and most iconic of the pyramids, was completed around 2560 BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. Cleopatra, however, ruled Egypt from 51 BCE to 30 BCE, a staggering 2,500 years after the completion of the Great Pyramid. To put that into perspective, the pyramids were already ancient history by the time Cleopatra walked the earth. In fact, Cleopatra may have marveled at these monuments much like we do today, as relics of a distant and mysterious past. Cleopatra's Egypt was part of the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled following Alexander the Great's conquest of Egypt in 332 BCE. This period was marked by Hellenistic influences, blending Greek and Egyptian culture. Cleopatra herself was Macedonian Greek by lineage, though she embraced Egyptian traditions and was one of the few Ptolemies to speak the Egyptian language. What's truly fascinating is how the pyramids would have symbolized an era of power and prosperity that even Cleopatra's Egypt could not rival. By her time, the pyramids had stood through countless invasions, regime changes, and even shifting religious beliefs. They were already iconic symbols of the past, representing the engineering genius and spiritual devotion of Egypt's Old Kingdom. Moreover, Cleopatra's capital was in Alexandria, far from Giza. Alexandria was a bustling, cosmopolitan hub of learning and trade, home to the famous Library of Alexandria and a lighthouse that was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Cleopatra's focus was on preserving her reign and navigating the political tensions between Rome and Egypt, but it's easy to imagine her reflecting on the legacy of Egypt's past rulers while gazing at the pyramids, a tangible connection to a world long gone. The juxtaposition of Cleopatra and the pyramids serves as a poignant reminder of how time distorts our understanding of history. What seems like one continuous narrative is actually a series of disjointed epochs, each with its own unique challenges and triumphs. Cleopatra, a figure often associated with the height of Egyptian civilization, lived closer to our modern era than to the age of the pyramids, a fact that continues to astonish historians and enthusiasts alike. This perspective reminds us of history's vastness and how modern marvels like smartphones are but a blip in time. Now on to our next, the town that sent more soldiers home. Some historical anecdotes highlight moments of humor and humanity amidst the chaos of war. One such tale comes from Liechtenstein, a tiny European country nestled between Austria and Switzerland. During the Austro-Prussian War of 1866, Liechtenstein sent 80 soldiers to join the conflict. Remarkably, they suffered no casualties during their campaign. Even more astonishingly, when the soldiers returned home, their number had increased to 81, having made a new friend along the way. This whimsical tale symbolizes the peaceful nature of Liechtenstein, whose military was disbanded just 2 years later in 1868. Since then, the nation has embraced its status as a neutral country, avoiding further military entanglements. In contrast, the phrase, "the town that sent more soldiers home," has also been associated with a heartwarming yet somber tale from Le Chambon-sur-Lignon, a French village during World War II. This Protestant community risked everything to shelter and save thousands of Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi persecution, sending them to safety across borders. Their bravery exemplifies the best of humanity during one of history's darkest times. Now here is the story of a deadly drink. The poisonous prohibition. Prohibition in America took place during 1920 to 1933 and is remembered as a time of speakeasies, bootleggers, and the rise of organized crime. It was an era when the U.S. government sought to enforce a nationwide ban on alcohol with extreme measures, but one of the most shocking tactics remains the deliberate poisoning of industrial alcohol. Industrial alcohol, used in products like cleaning agents, fuels, and solvents, was not originally intended for consumption. However, during Prohibition, bootleggers discovered ways to redistill and chemically treat it, converting it into drinkable spirits. This allowed them to bypass restrictions and produce alcohol on a massive scale, feeding the insatiable demand of the public. Frustrated by their inability to stop this illicit trade, federal authorities took a drastic and controversial step. They ordered industrial alcohol manufacturers to add deadly chemicals to their products. These chemicals included methanol, benzene, and other toxic substances, making the alcohol incredibly dangerous, if not outright lethal, to consume. The goal? To deter bootleggers and discourage Americans from drinking. However, this plan backfired horrifically. Rather than halting illegal production, bootleggers often failed to fully remove the toxins during the distillation process, or didn't even attempt to. The result was catastrophic. An estimated 10,000 deaths occurred as a direct result of poisoned alcohol during Prohibition, along with countless cases of severe illness, blindness, and paralysis. Public outrage grew as the news of these poisonings spread. Critics condemned the government's actions as reckless and inhumane, accusing officials of waging a war not just on alcohol, but on their own citizens. It became a symbol of the moral and ethical compromises made in the name of enforcement, turning public opinion against Prohibition. The grim legacy of the poisoned alcohol program serves as a stark reminder of how far authorities were willing to go to enforce laws that many Americans defied and the devastating consequences that followed. Today, it remains a cautionary tale of overreach and unintended consequences in public policy. What do you think about this period of time? Do you think the government was justified in outlawing alcohol? Or do you think they were overreaching? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, if you are enjoying this video, would you subscribe to our channel and give a thumbs up for this video? We so appreciate your support. Now for this next one. Imagine surviving one of the most devastating events in human history, only to face it again just days later. That was the extraordinary and harrowing reality of Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a man whose story of resilience seems almost too incredible to be true. On August 6, 1945, Yamaguchi, a 29-year-old naval engineer, was in Hiroshima on a business trip. He was just 2 miles from ground zero when the atomic bomb was dropped, unleashing an explosion of unprecedented destruction. The blast threw him to the ground, ruptured his eardrums, and left him with severe burns. Somehow, he survived, making his way to a shelter where he spent the night amidst the chaos and devastation. Despite his injuries and the unfolding catastrophe, Yamaguchi was determined to return home to Nagasaki. He boarded a train the following day, still reeling from the horrors he had witnessed in Hiroshima. On August 9, 1945, as he recounted his experience to his colleagues, the second atomic bomb detonated over Nagasaki. Remarkably, he survived again, though now with even more injuries and trauma. Yamaguchi's life after the bombings was marked by physical and emotional scars, yet his spirit remained unbroken. He went on to live a long life, eventually sharing his story with the world as a symbol of human endurance and the catastrophic consequences of nuclear warfare. He passed away in 2010 at the age of 93, his life a poignant reminder of both the fragility and resilience of the human spirit. Now, did you know that there was a town that faked its own alien invasion? In 1954, a small Italian town called Florence played host to one of the most bizarre events in modern history. During a local soccer match, dozens of spectators claimed to see strange, glowing objects hovering in the sky. To add to the mystery, a fine, silvery substance known as angel hair fell from the sky, disintegrating upon touch. While many believe this was extraterrestrial activity, skeptics suggest it was caused by rare spider migrations releasing webbing. The truth? Still unknown, but it's a story that continues to capture imaginations. This next one is totally cool. The Eiffel Tower's secret apartment. When Gustave Eiffel designed the iconic Eiffel Tower, he included a hidden gem near its peak, a private apartment. Unlike the lavish spaces you might expect, this cozy retreat was modestly decorated with wooden furniture, floral wallpaper, and a grand piano. Eiffel used this secret space to entertain esteemed guests, including Thomas Edison, who gifted him a phonograph during his visit. Today, the apartment remains preserved as it was, a testament to Eiffel's unique vision and his desire for solitude amidst the heights of Paris. I don't know about you, but how many of our viewers would love to see this apartment? Sounds like an upcoming trip to me. Now on to our next, the king who loved bananas. King Louis XIV of France was famous for his opulent lifestyle, but did you know he had a peculiar obsession with bananas? Historical accounts suggest he was one of the first Europeans to taste the exotic fruit, and he reportedly fell in love with it. So much so that the French court went to great lengths to procure bananas from distant lands, making it a symbol of luxury and wealth. Imagine hosting a royal feast where bananas were the highlight of the menu, a reminder of how the simplest things can become extravagant in the hands of royalty. From bananas to bizarre diets, our next tale delves into the extremes people went to in the pursuit of health and immortality. Have you ever heard of the Breatharian Diet? In the late 20th century, a bizarre diet trend emerged known as Breatharianism. Adherents believed they could survive solely on sunlight and air, claiming food and water were unnecessary. One of the most infamous Breatharians, Wiley Brooks, was caught sneaking junk food after preaching his extreme diet to followers. Despite being widely debunked, the Breatharian movement still has a small following today. It's a stark reminder of how far people will go in the name of health, even if it defies basic biology. And now, let's turn to an entirely different kind of eccentricity, one that involves a king, a toilet, and some truly awkward conversations. King Louis XIV makes another appearance in our list, this time for his peculiar approach to governance. The French monarch was known to conduct state meetings while using the toilet. Courtiers would gather around as he discussed politics, signed documents, and issued decrees, all from his throne. This bizarre practice was considered a privilege for those in attendance, as it signified the king's trust and favor. From royal peculiarities to the quirks of history, we've explored the absurd, the humorous, and the downright unbelievable. Let's wrap it up. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history's most absurd and entertaining tales. From exploding whales to royal bathroom meetings, it's clear the past has a way of keeping us on our toes and reminding us that truth is often stranger than fiction. If you enjoyed these stories, why not stick around and explore more intriguing content? Click on one of our other videos to keep the adventure going. Whether it's jaw-dropping mysteries or surprising historical twists, we've got plenty more to uncover. And don't forget, your engagement is the best way to help our channel grow. So, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to Facts Intrigue. Together, we can continue unraveling the wonders and oddities of our world. Until next time, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.